Hello everybody, this is Fernando for the latest Urban Legends video. Alright, let's go ahead and let's start this whole new series here based on your suggestions. This one's starting off with a brand new suggestion and having to do with a location. In fact, you know how much I love specific locations. This could be one that you could visit on your own if you dare, or who knows, maybe even I might try to visit it sometime in the future. This goes several which ways. It's hard to say. It's more of an urban legend, but there could also be paranormal activity tied to it. There could also be monsters as well, witches, even Satanism when it comes to several different attributes. And I'm going to try to explain as much as possible here, but still, lots of mysteriousness tied to it. It goes by several names too as well. It's known in one case as Tunnels Road, another one as the Hawks Point Tunnel, but by far its most prominent name is known as Satan's Tunnel. And you know why? Hear more in just a moment. So let's go ahead and let's talk about Satan's Tunnel here. And I'd love to hear what your thoughts and comments are, especially if you've had the chance to go visit this tunnel in person. So here's all the information associated with it. For starters, this is hard to say essentially when all of this stuff started happening with that tunnel. In other words, all the aforementioned activity that I was talking about. In fact, it could be an indication, could be that it was over a century ago that this tunnel had all of these crazy things going on with it. First off, if you wanted to know exactly where this is at, you have to go to Missouri. They're at a location called Hawk Point, and then there you're supposedly take a Highway 47 and then find some four-way crossing, take a left, and you'll know you're nearby because you're going to see a sign that says Tunnel Road, which you're looking at here essentially when it comes to this location. And then that's where you arrive here, and then that's where Satan's Tunnel is supposedly at. But yes, as far as when it first started, who knows, but more than a century ago, people were still stating that stuff, very mysterious things were happening there. By far, the biggest cause is this. Who knows who the owners were specifically or when they owned it, but apparently devil worshippers owned the land that the road and the area was on. So maybe they were there for a long time, maybe they were there for just a short time, but many people state that everything tied to all the evil things associated with this land and this tunnel can be caused by them. In other words, they were the originators of this, and then maybe they're gone now, or maybe they're still there at this time, but so much of this significant action is from then. But at the same time, people that have been here still state to this day that there's still things going on. In fact, here's some of the specific items. Number one has to do with hauntings. If you go there and you go through the tunnel, apparently you're going to hear things coming out of the tunnel, some kind of noises. Some of those noises can include the wails of people that have apparently met their demise by that tunnel. It's interesting. It's almost like that thing where people know it's a dangerous thing to check out because they've heard of other people meeting an unfortunate circumstance, and so they in turn check it out, and then lo and behold, they end up having something horrible happen to them there, and now they become part of those very same whales that they were attracted to. It's almost that kind of stuff. People also apparently hear the noise of a train, a mysterious train. Somebody point me out though on this. I don't think there's a train anymore going through it. It certainly doesn't look like the tracks are going through there, but if there was at one point, apparently a train would hit multiple people there at the tunnel. Either the tunnel created some kind of mysterious optical illusion, maybe people thought that the train was further away than usual until it was too late, or maybe it was, instead of the optics, more something along the lines of hearing it. Like, in other words, the tunnel itself would hide the presence of the oncoming train until it was too late. But yes, people have stated that there have been multiple situations involving bodies found at the entrance of the tunnel, all because they were victims associated with those trains, including one apparently with a man. Who knows who this gentleman was, but this was over a century ago. He too was lured to the tails of this tunnel, of Satan's tunnel, and as he did so, he heard those same sounds that I was just mentioning earlier, and just like any other bad horror movie, he decided to go check out those noises. No sooner did that happen than his train suddenly hit him. He died, and his ghost is now part of that location. That's one thing. Another one is this. Apparently, a homeless person was taking residence within that tunnel itself. He too had heard the stories associated with it, but I'm guessing because of his unique situation, not having anywhere else to essentially rest, he decided to stay there, but he would tell others as warnings not to stay there, because not only was he there, but he knew of the dangers of it too. He tried to keep them away, even if those very same dangers were an impact to him. He would tell them about the associations of those noises, about the evil that the presence that people feel there. He felt it as well. In fact, he told some kids who were trying to explore that tunnel to go away and never ever return, because evil enveloped that location. And then lo and behold, when the police were called the next day to investigate, I'm guessing that those kids actually told about the situation, told law enforcement about the homeless man. And so law enforcement came over. They found him dead. Not only that, but there was a frightful visage. In other words, his face was actually frozen in fear. Whatever it was that had caused his death essentially caused him to die of fear, or have something like that happen to him right before his death. Crazy stuff. Not only that too, but near and around that location involving Satan's tunnel, there's a graveyard that is also very, very haunted. And how about this? If you want even more evil presence within that area, there's a house that used to belong to a witch in the nearby woods too. So if you want to go to that location, be very careful. That's not something that I would say visit for too long, especially in the presence of a witch. But apparently her evilness is still there in that area, and it still roams around. Maybe she's even there to this day, because there's a location that apparently people see the ghost of a lady by a household, and it could be the witch or it could be someone else, but again, it's tied to the overall aura associated with this location and this haunted tunnel. Interestingly enough, I found evidence and information of another tunnel that had a very, very horrible set of situations tied to it. It was also called Hawks Tunnel, but in that case, it was more along the lines of the many deaths of some workers that were doing their daily routine, but in horrible conditions when it came to digging the tunnel of that train. Many hundreds of them, actually over 700 of them, ended up dying afterward. But it's interesting that the research brought up that tunnel too, because there's a sense there that something could be happening afterward, such as the case here with whatever was in this area with this tunnel, all tied again to the idea of they're originally devil worshippers, but going more and beyond to having witches, to having graveyards, to having ghosts and other types of evil presences within that location, just all around a area that to this day people don't know why, but it still has that type of not just prominence, but also an aptly titled name associated with it, Satan's Tunnel. So go at your own risk if you decide to do so. I would recommend just trying to go as quickly as possible, because of all these supernatural and highly active tales that seem to be tied to it. But if anybody has any more info, anything else I might have missed, then please post those comments below. Or if anyone has been there in person and has felt what is called the quote-unquote feeling of death that lingers within the air around that location, then please let me know. Let me know what that is. Let me know what your thoughts are, especially from anyone that had an upfront and close personal experience. All right, everybody. Thanks again as always. Take care. Bye.